Listen closely. Have you ever wondered what it truly means to be free? Not the kind of freedom measured by money, titles, or the approval of others, but the freedom that comes from knowing yourself so completely that no one can shake your peace. Most of us spend our lives searching for love outside ourselves, chasing validation in another person's eyes, believing that happiness is locked in a relationship. We think that someone else will complete us, make us whole, and fill the void we feel inside. But the truth is, when you are not whole on your own, no relationship can ever satisfy you. Living alone is the ultimate act of choosing yourself. It is the moment you stop depending on someone else to define your worth and start building the foundation of your own life, brick by brick, with courage and intention. Choosing yourself means waking up every day and deciding that your needs, your growth, your peace, and your dreams matter. It means learning to enjoy your own company without feeling lonely, discovering what makes you happy without anyone else's influence, and embracing your own voice when it is quiet, when the world demands you be loud for others. Psychology shows that people who prioritize self-awareness and independence have stronger mental resilience, higher confidence, and deeper satisfaction in life. Living alone gives you the chance to truly see who you are, to face yourself honestly without excuses, without hiding behind someone else's presence. Every moment spent alone becomes a mirror, reflecting your strengths, your weaknesses, and the endless potential that lies dormant within you. When you live alone, you learn the art of self-reliance. You begin to understand that happiness is not something to be found in someone else's affection, but something to be cultivated within. Every decision you make, every path you choose, is a step towards self-mastery. You start to recognize patterns in your behavior, desires, and emotions, and you gain the power to change what no longer serves you. Relationships can be beautiful, but they can also be distracting. They can blur your vision, compromise your goals, and sometimes even weaken your sense of self. Living alone strips away the distractions, forcing you to confront your own life, to take responsibility for your joy, and to realize that the only approval you need is your own. There is a subtle, almost sacred power in choosing solitude. It teaches patience, resilience, and the courage to face the unknown without leaning on anyone else for comfort. When you live alone, you stop fearing rejection, abandonment, or disappointment because you are no longer dependent on external validation. Instead, you cultivate a deep, unwavering confidence that comes from knowing that you can thrive on your own. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are capable, that your life is not fragile, and that your strength is inherent, not borrowed from someone else. And the reward of living alone is extraordinary. You gain clarity, freedom, and control over your life. You discover the joy of waking up and choosing your own path without compromise. You develop an inner compass that guides you through uncertainty, unharmed by the expectations or judgments of others. When you choose yourself first, you attract situations, opportunities, and even people who align with your true self, not with the version of you shaped by others' desires. The loneliness that once felt heavy transforms into a powerful solitude that nurtures creativity, focus, and emotional strength. You become the architect of your own happiness, the master of your own destiny, and the source of your own love. Living alone is not an absence, it is a presence, the presence of your own power, your own voice, and your own truth. It is the rare freedom to build your life on your terms, without apology and without fear. When you fully embrace the art of choosing yourself, you step into a life where nothing can break your peace, nothing can dictate your worth, and nothing can stop your growth. You begin to understand that love, when it comes, will not fill a void, but will add to the abundance you already possess. And that understanding is what transforms loneliness into liberation and solitude into the greatest relationship you will ever experience with yourself. This is the moment when living alone stops being seen as a sacrifice and starts being recognized as the ultimate victory. It is the beginning of a journey where your life is no longer shaped by the presence or absence of someone else. Instead, it is shaped by the decisions, actions, and love you give yourself. When you choose to live alone, you claim your freedom, your power, and your peace, and in doing so, you discover a life that no relationship can ever surpass. There is a unique power in silence, a kind of strength that cannot be felt in the chaos of a crowded room or the noise of constant companionship. When you live alone, you are gifted with space, the space to think, to feel, and to truly understand yourself. Silence is often mistaken for emptiness, but it is anything but. It is in this quiet that your mind begins to sharpen, your heart begins to heal, and your soul begins to awaken. Psychology reveals that moments of solitude increase self-awareness, improve emotional regulation, and foster clarity of thought. Without the constant input of others, you learn to hear your own voice, the voice that speaks your truth without compromise. You discover the power to face your fears, to examine your doubts, and to confront the parts of yourself you may have ignored or denied. Living alone forces you into this dialogue with yourself, and through it, you grow stronger than you ever imagined possible. In silence, distractions fade. There are no arguments to navigate, no compromises to make, no expectations to manage. The world slows down, and you are finally left with one thing that matters more than anything else: yourself. It is here that resilience is built, quietly and without fanfare. Each moment of being alone becomes a training ground for your mind and heart, teaching you that you are enough, that you are capable, and that you do not require constant reassurance to feel whole. This strength cannot be borrowed. It can only be earned through time, reflection, and conscious choice. When you embrace the silence, you embrace your power. Living alone also rewires your understanding of comfort and fulfillment. Too often, people seek external sources of happiness, hoping that someone else's presence can fill the void within. But the truth is, real contentment is self-generated. Every thought you organize, every emotion you process, and every goal you set while alone becomes a brick in the foundation of a life that no one can shake. You start to realize that discomfort is not the enemy, it is the teacher. Facing yourself without distraction forces you to confront insecurities, to recognize weaknesses, and to transform them into sources of strength. In this space, personal growth becomes inevitable, and your confidence becomes unshakable, because it is rooted in self-knowledge, not in someone else's approval. The freedom found in solitude is not a passive experience, it is an active, deliberate cultivation of independence. Your time alone becomes a practice in discipline, focus, and intention. You begin to understand your own rhythms, your desires, and your limitations. You gain the ability to create without influence, to think without judgment, and to act without fear of disappointment. Relationships can often blur the lines of who you are, as compromise, expectation, and dependency subtly shape your decisions. Alone, you are free to define yourself, to align your life with your values, and to pursue your ambitions without hesitation. This is the kind of freedom that no relationship, no matter how loving, can fully offer. Living alone teaches patience and emotional endurance in ways that are rare and profound. You learn to sit with yourself in moments of discomfort, to observe your thoughts without reaction, and to respond with clarity rather than impulsiveness. Your emotional intelligence deepens because you are constantly engaging with your own inner world, learning to understand and manage it. You stop fearing rejection or disappointment because your sense of worth is no longer contingent on anyone else. Instead, you develop a quiet confidence that radiates outward, a presence that is magnetic and grounded in authenticity. This is not arrogance, it is mastery over your own life, and it commands respect without effort. The reward of embracing solitude is immense. You become unbreakable in ways that relationships alone rarely cultivate. You develop mental clarity, emotional resilience, and the kind of self-reliance that allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace and power. You no longer depend on someone else to define your happiness or validate your choices. Every decision you make is deliberate, every action intentional, and every achievement a testament to your independence. Living alone transforms you from someone seeking fulfillment outside into someone who generates it from within. Your life begins to reflect your true priorities, your deepest values, and your most authentic self. Silence, space, and solitude are not emptiness. They are the crucible in which your strongest self is forged. They teach you to trust yourself, to value your own presence, and to act from a place of strength rather than neediness. When you learn to thrive alone, you no longer fear being alone, and you no longer seek relationships for the wrong reasons. Instead, you become magnetic to the right opportunities, the right people, and the right experiences. Not out of necessity, but out of abundance. The power of living alone is not in escaping the world. It is in mastering yourself, in embracing your own voice, and in realizing that the life you have when no one is watching is the truest reflection of who you are, and it is more powerful than any relationship could ever make you feel. Freedom is the heartbeat of living alone, a pulse that courses through every decision, every thought, and every action. When you are alone, you reclaim control over your life in ways that relationships rarely allow. There are no obligations that compromise your vision, no expectations that dilute your choices, and no compromises that quietly chip away at your independence. The world becomes a canvas, and you are free to paint it exactly as you wish. This freedom is not just physical, it is psychological, emotional, and spiritual. It is the kind of autonomy that psychologists identify as a core pillar of human fulfillment. When you control your own life, when your actions align with your values and your goals, you experience a satisfaction that cannot be granted by another person. Living alone teaches you to honor your own priorities without guilt. You no longer feel pressured to negotiate your dreams or stifle your ambitions to fit someone else's agenda. You make choices that reflect your truest desires, and in doing so, you develop an inner clarity that radiates outward. Freedom allows you to explore possibilities without limitation, to take risks without fear of judgment, and to follow paths that excite and challenge you. It fosters creativity, determination, and an unshakable sense of purpose. Every decision you make in solitude reinforces the understanding that your life is yours alone to shape, and this realization is deeply empowering. When you live alone, you also learn the art of self-responsibility. Without someone else to rely on for validation, support, or direction, you cultivate accountability for your own happiness and success. You learn that no one else is obligated to save you from discomfort or disappointment, and in that realization lies profound liberation. You begin to internalize the truth that reliance on external factors diminishes personal power, while self-reliance amplifies it. Each challenge faced alone becomes a lesson in resilience, a testament to your strength, and proof that you can navigate life with grace and confidence. This level of independence is magnetic, it commands respect, inspires admiration, and cultivates a presence that is unmistakably powerful. Freedom also reshapes your perception of relationships. When you are complete in yourself, no connection becomes a crutch, and no companionship is taken for granted. Relationships transform from necessities into choices, from sources of security into avenues of shared growth. You no longer tolerate toxicity, compromise your values, or sacrifice your well-being for the illusion of connection. The independence gained from living alone sharpens your discernment, allowing you to recognize who and what truly adds value to your life. It positions you as someone who engages with the world from abundance, not need, and this perspective is transformative. Autonomy cultivated in solitude extends to every aspect of your existence. Your schedule, your habits, your ambitions, all are yours to define. You become the architect of your own destiny, free to explore passions, learn new skills, and create routines that enhance your growth. No one dictates how you spend your time or imposes limitations on your potential. Psychology confirms that autonomy is closely linked to motivation, fulfillment, and overall well-being. By living alone, you satisfy this fundamental human need, and in doing so, you unlock levels of focus, productivity, and personal satisfaction that are difficult to achieve in codependence. The rewards of freedom are both immediate and lasting. You experience a life unshackled by compromise, a life where your priorities are honored and your voice is heard without distortion. Each choice you make reinforces your independence, fortifying your sense of self and your confidence. Living alone allows you to thrive on your own terms, to cultivate joy, purpose, and meaning from within, and to approach every challenge with a mindset of strength rather than fear. This freedom is the foundation for a life that is resilient, empowered, and extraordinary. Ultimately, living alone teaches you that true freedom is not the absence of people. It is the presence of yourself. It is the liberation that comes from knowing your worth, mastering your life, and making choices that reflect your deepest truths. When you embrace this freedom, you understand that no relationship, no matter how close, can replace the power of being fully autonomous. You step into a life where every moment is yours to command, every path is yours to choose, and every achievement is a reflection of your courage and independence. Freedom, once embraced, transforms solitude from a condition into a gift that shapes you into someone unstoppable, unbreakable, and completely alive. Living alone is the ultimate exercise in self-mastery. when no one else is present to influence your choices, your growth, or your actions, every step you take is a reflection of your own discipline, intention, and courage. You begin to realize that the person you spend the most time with is yourself, and the quality of that relationship determines everything else in your life. Self-mastery is not about perfection or control. It is about knowing your values, understanding your emotions, and directing your energy toward building the life you deserve. Psychology confirms that individuals who cultivate self-discipline and self-awareness experience higher levels of fulfillment, resilience, and emotional intelligence. Living alone forces you into this work, not as a burden, but as a privilege to shape your mind, your heart, and your future without compromise. Every morning you wake up alone, you practice self-reliance. Every decision, no matter how small, becomes an exercise in asserting your independence. You learn to regulate your emotions without external reassurance, to solve problems without leaning on someone else, and to create joy and satisfaction from within. This is the kind of strength that cannot be taught in a classroom or handed to you by another person. It is forged in the quiet moments of solitude, in the stillness of your thoughts, and in the deliberate choices you make to honor your own growth. The more you invest in yourself, the more capable, confident, and unstoppable you become. Living alone also sharpens your focus. Without the constant distractions and compromises that often accompany relationships, you have the clarity to pursue your passions, cultivate skills, and chase ambitions with relentless determination. Every moment is yours to dedicate to your personal evolution. Every challenge becomes a chance to refine your abilities, and every success is a testament to your self-mastery. In the absence of dependency, you develop an inner authority, a sense of control over your destiny that cannot be undermined by the presence or absence of others. This mastery transforms you into someone who moves through the world with intentionality, confidence, and magnetism, attracting opportunities that align with your highest potential. Self-mastery cultivated in solitude also strengthens your emotional resilience. When you are alone, you learn to face discomfort without flinching, to sit with uncertainty without fear, and to navigate life's obstacles without relying on external support. This resilience is not merely the ability to endure, it is the ability to thrive despite adversity. Psychology shows that people who develop resilience through self-reliance experience less anxiety, greater stability, and deeper satisfaction in life. Living alone forces you to confront your fears, challenge your limitations, and rise above self-doubt. In doing so, you create a foundation of strength that no heartbreak, disappointment, or external circumstance can shake. The independence gained from living alone also transforms the way you approach relationships. When you are whole and self-reliant, you no longer seek validation or fulfillment from someone else. You engage with others from a place of abundance, not need. This creates relationships that are healthier, more balanced, and built on mutual respect rather than dependency. You no longer tolerate manipulation, compromise your values, or sacrifice your growth for the sake of connection. Instead, you attract people and experiences that enhance your life rather than define it. Self-mastery in solitude ensures that every relationship you choose is a reflection of your strength, not a patch for your insecurities. Living alone becomes a laboratory for personal transformation. Each day spent in solitude is a chance to observe your patterns, refine your habits, and elevate your mindset. You learn to harness your energy with precision, to respond with wisdom rather than impulse, and to act with intentionality rather than reaction. This is how true independence is cultivated, not in isolation as an absence of others, but as the presence of your highest self. Every small victory, every insight, and every moment of clarity compounds into a life marked by confidence, autonomy, and unstoppable momentum. Ultimately, the mastery you develop while living alone is your most powerful asset. It empowers you to live without fear, to act without hesitation, and to love without dependency. It ensures that your happiness is never contingent on someone else's presence, and that your sense of purpose is unwavering. When you master yourself, you become unshakable, magnetic, and profoundly free. Living alone is not a retreat from life. It is a bold declaration that you are the architect of your own destiny, the guardian of your own peace, and the source of your own strength. Through solitude, you discover the extraordinary truth. The strongest, most fulfilled, and most respected version of yourself is built not by others, but by you, standing firmly in your own power. When you live alone, you step into a realm of limitless possibilities. There are no boundaries imposed by another person's expectations, no invisible chains that dictate your choices, and no compromises that dilute your vision. Every aspect of your life becomes yours to shape, from the smallest daily routine to the largest life decisions. This autonomy is the essence of human fulfillment. Psychology teaches that the sense of control we have over our own lives directly correlates with happiness, motivation, and resilience. Living alone gives you this control in its purest form, allowing you to navigate life unburdened by compromise and unshakable in your independence. The freedom to act in alignment with your own values is intoxicating, and it breeds a confidence that cannot be imitated or taken away. Every moment spent in solitude sharpens your sense of purpose. Without someone else influencing your time, your energy, or your priorities, you are forced to confront the question, what do I truly want? Living alone compels you to explore your passions, define your goals, and pursue them with unwavering determination. It strips away distractions and external pressures, leaving you with a clear path to personal growth. This clarity is rare in a world where compromise is often mistaken for cooperation. You begin to recognize that your life is not meant to be molded by others, but to be constructed according to your own blueprint. The independence you cultivate becomes a powerful force, shaping not only your present but your future in ways that are intentional, meaningful, and profoundly liberating. Solitude also nurtures emotional intelligence. When you are alone, you are faced with your thoughts and feelings without distraction or avoidance. You learn to identify your triggers, understand your patterns, and respond with awareness rather than reaction. This self-awareness strengthens your decision-making, your relationships, and your ability to navigate challenges. Emotional intelligence is one of the most valuable traits a person can develop, and living alone accelerates its growth. You learn to regulate your emotions, manage your stress, and act with clarity even in the face of uncertainty. This mastery over your inner world translates into an unshakable calm and a presence that commands respect. Living alone cultivates resilience that cannot be borrowed or faked. Without someone to rely on for comfort, validation, or protection, you are compelled to develop inner strength. Every challenge, every moment of doubt, and every obstacle becomes a test of your own capabilities. You learn that discomfort is temporary, that setbacks are opportunities, and that you have within you everything necessary to overcome adversity. This resilience transforms how you experience life. You become fearless, not because danger is absent, but because you trust your own ability to handle whatever comes your way. Independence forged in solitude creates a foundation of power that relationships can never provide. And this power is deeply attractive and profoundly freeing. The independence and resilience gained from living alone also redefine your interactions with others. When you are whole, complete, and self-reliant, you engage with relationships from a place of strength rather than need. You no longer tolerate compromise that diminishes you, nor do you settle for connections that drain your energy. You attract people who respect your autonomy, who align with your values, and who enhance your life rather than define it. This is the kind of connection that grows naturally from a life lived fully in alignment with your own power. You are no longer dependent on others for happiness, validation, or purpose. You generate it from within. Living alone transforms your life into a masterpiece of intention and control. Every decision becomes deliberate, every action purposeful, and every moment a step toward your highest potential. You develop the ability to create opportunities, embrace challenges, and design a life that reflects your true self. This is not just freedom, it is mastery. It is the ability to exist in the world fully, authentically, and powerfully, without compromise, without fear, and without limitation. Psychology confirms that autonomy, self-mastery, and resilience are central to human flourishing, and living alone provides the perfect environment to cultivate all three simultaneously. Ultimately, living alone is the gateway to becoming unstoppable. It allows you to embrace your independence, cultivate unshakable confidence, and pursue your life with relentless focus. You are no longer shaped by the expectations or limitations of others. Instead, you are defined by your own choices, your own strength, and your own vision. Solitude teaches you that the most powerful relationship you will ever have is with yourself, and that everything else in life, opportunities, connections, and experiences, follows naturally from the strength, clarity, and freedom you cultivate on your own. Living alone is not a withdrawal from life. It is an invitation to step fully into your own power, to create a life that cannot be replicated, and to become the person you were always meant to be: resilient, free, and unstoppable. When you live alone, you step into the most powerful version of yourself, the version that is complete, self-reliant, and unshakably strong. You begin to understand that dependence on others for happiness is an illusion, a temporary comfort that never lasts. True power comes from cultivating your own strength, your own clarity, and your own sense of purpose. The life you create in solitude is not defined by the expectations, opinions, or needs of anyone else. It is defined solely by your choices, your values, and your vision. This is the life that relationships can rarely provide, because relationships, by their nature, involve negotiation, compromise, and the constant balancing of two separate identities. Living alone removes all of that interference, allowing you to focus entirely on mastering your own existence. Self-reliance develops through discipline, consistency, and conscious action. Every decision you make alone becomes a reflection of your integrity and intention. You no longer wait for someone else to motivate you, to validate your efforts, or to guide your choices. Your life is yours to shape, and every challenge you face becomes an opportunity to test and expand your capabilities. Psychology confirms that people who develop autonomy and self-discipline report higher levels of life satisfaction, emotional stability, and resilience. Living alone forces you to engage with these practices daily, and the results are transformative. You become someone who does not fear setbacks, someone who does not seek permission to pursue greatness, and someone whose presence alone commands respect. Solitude also sharpens your focus in ways that few experiences can replicate. Without the constant influence or distraction of another person, your energy is fully available to you. You can dedicate yourself entirely to your goals, your passions, and your personal growth. You develop the clarity to see what truly matters and the courage to pursue it relentlessly. Every routine, every habit, and every choice becomes aligned with the person you are becoming. The freedom to structure your life entirely around your own ambitions creates a momentum that is unstoppable. In solitude, you are both the architect and the builder of your future, designing it with intention, precision, and power. Emotional resilience is another profound gift of living alone. When no one else is present to soothe your doubts, validate your fears, or shield you from discomfort, you learn to face life's challenges head-on. You cultivate the ability to sit with uncertainty